welcome back to the channel. It's Muriel from the Sunshine Family, and renting an apartment in Costa Rica, housing in Costa Rica, that is what my video of today is all about. As an expat living in Costa Rica together with my husband Dirk and our two growing up kids and our two dogs, I'm here actually dedicated to share everything that I have learned so far. So I am here excited to share what I have learned about renting in Costa Rica, especially in the area Santa Teresa, where I have most experience. So yeah, I hope that you can benefit from my video. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this might be the perfect moment to do so. You see here on the screen a little icon with Dirk and my heads on. If you click it, you can subscribe, and when you hit the bell icon, you get a notification every time I upload a new video, and that might help you for future answers to your questions that you might have about Costa Rica. No matter if you are looking about Costa Rica info for vacationing or to travel or to become an expat. Anyways, I'm here to serve you. So yeah, what I wanted to share with you today is what I've learned about renting in Costa Rica is that you can make many expensive mistakes. I want to help you prevent it. You might looking for a rental place for vacationing. Let's start with that. Then I will cover long-term rental and what things that you could take care of before you do long-term rental to prevent that you pay too much, to prevent that you are renting a place that is not confirming the expectations that you might have. So I can share many examples of people. Well, anyways, stay tuned. I will cover it all. So stick to the end, okay? So let's start with vacationing Costa Rica. Basically short-term rental. I just want to get started by referring you to the most trustable resources to book a short-term rental, and that is booking.com and that is Airbnb. Super simple. That's how we vacationed in Costa Rica before we decided to move here. The cool thing about those websites is that they are checked. All the accommodations are checked by the company. So take for example Airbnb. What is awesome about it is that the most awesome in all price range fields you can rent something, and there are reviews of existing rentees, right? So what I have learned, and actually Dirk taught me that, I forgot in the beginning, I found something epic. I thought I booked it for 1 or 2 nights because we were traveling through Costa Rica, and what happened, the pictures looked amazing, but there was a lot of noise in the background, for example. If I would be smart, I would have read the reviews. So tip, read the reviews. No matter how beautiful the website looks like, if people say, you know, it's a beautiful house, nice host, etc., etc., the pool was great, but they are constructing a big hotel right next door, for example. You know, the owners of an accommodation like that are not allowed to just hide those reviews, so they are always for real. So yeah, make your decisions based on that if you're gonna book that accommodation, yes or no. So also for booking.com, there are always reviews, but they are 2 trustable websites. But still, always pay attention before you just use your credit card, and then just what I also advise you to do, and that's what I do a lot, did a lot actually, because now I'm living here in my own place. Try, if you found an accommodation through Airbnb that you really like, the reviews are positive, grab the name of the accommodation or the website if you can find it, and type it in Google and try to find the local website. So try to connect with the owners on a personal basis so you can book your accommodation around Airbnb or booking.com. I'm not saying it's always cheaper, but I'm saying the chances are that you can get it with a discount, an extra discount, which is not offered on the official website of Airbnb or booking.com. It might always help to just check if there are possibilities and opportunities like that. So that's also a tip. Now for long-term rental, if you're vacationing, what's always, and that's in general, what is very important to include in your decision to buy short-term or to rent short-term or long-term, what season are you in? Are you in rainy season in September and October and the beginning of November? Or are you in high season? That's basically December and January and February, right? If you want to have like a position to make a good deal in high season, forget it. All the prices will be at the maximum height. There is not so much choice because basically, especially in the touristical areas like Santa Teresa area where Dirk and I live with the kids, everything is fully booked. Even friends of us who own their own house or houses, they make it available to rent it out in high season to make an incredible amount of money to use for whatever they want, to restore their rentals, or just you can make a good income in high season. So there is no position of making a good price for high season. So if you are planning to come to Costa Rica to travel or to stay a little bit longer or for vacationing, I would just recommend you to go a little bit off the high season if you have the time flexibility. And by the way, this is just in between. If you wonder what I do for a living and how to create that flexibility to go on vacationing whenever you want and to work remotely and, you know, with your laptop and your smartphone just the way that I do, I decided to do that here from Costa Rica. Then just click the first link in the description to learn more about how I've done it and how it can work for you. Right? Because I'm always transparent. I do not have a job. I do not have a brick and mortar business, but I do earn my living here, right? And I do not have friends and family to promote anything here. I have friends and family, but you know, everyone is living far away here. We are living quite isolated. So just to give you a heads up that not being locked to a high season to do vacationing, I think that's a huge freedom, especially when you have kids and just want to explore the world and be there in low season. So anyways, a high season, low season, check if you can come a little bit farther, a little bit away from high season, gives you more position to get a better price. But also, if you are smart, you come in a period where low season is entering. So you book something, if you're vacationing, okay? You book something at the end of high season, a little bit back in time, so you have your accommodation secured. And then knowing that low season will start in end of September, October, or September actually, and October, a lot of house owner. So if you are vacationing first and you think, you know what, perhaps I want to stay, most house owners would love to rent their place out in rainy season because that's the period when most people leave town, leave the country to visit their families, and that will be a great opportunity for the stayers, the people like us who came here to stay but not had like a long-term rental fixed. Book yourself something on booking.com or Airbnb at the end of high season, right? So you have your accommodation set, especially when you have kids, you don't want to drag them around having no accommodation, right? And then knowing that there's many houses empty for the rainy season, so you can say, you know what about if I pay you this price and we stay for 2 months or 3 months, that brings you over to the high season even, that will be best. So I'm just starting to share tips about long-term rental, how to make the best deals, secure your rental spot the end of high season, and then talk to the owner and just put yourself out there in the community groups. For example, in the Santa Teresa community, it's the What's on Santa Teresa group, but there are like almost over 100 groups in the specific areas to find in Costa Rica on Facebook. So you can just join those community groups and ask there, you know, show that you're there, say hi, I just came to your area, I'm looking forward to find a nice house for, you know, I have this and this, this is what I need. So that's what I did. I just said hi and I said I have a family and I'm looking for a long-term rental, and someone reached out to me. He just built a house and we rented it for 8 months. We were the first rentees and we had a very good price. So put yourself out there, communicate and talk with people. So, but do it in the right season. That was actually my whole point. So I hope that makes sense. Now, what I also wanted to advise you is that I'm standing on a pile of ants. Yes, about bills. If you pay including or exclusive bills. Okay, so if you're looking, so this is about long-term and short-term rentals. So what is the price about? Do you pay own, if it says including bills, does it also include electricity, Wi-Fi and water? Those are in general the bills. Does it include a cleaning lady? Right? It's all things that landowners or house owners, if you just rent it locally, right? So without the official website, like Airbnb or Booking.com. By the way, if you never use those companies, go to the description below and you will see a fast link to go to Booking.com and Airbnb to book your first accommodation. It's super easy, so you don't have to scroll around. But what is important is that you really double check. So, for example, for us, we came to Santa Teresa. We had for 6 months rented a house from someone we met when we were vacationing here. Then we decided we're gonna come back and stay here. So we have a house for 6 months set that pulls us over high season, and then about in March we will be free to go and everyone is happy. Now what happened is this: the house was leaking. We paid way too much rent. According to the neighbor, who said, well, you're paying $1,000? The owner is paying $600. Well, we were feeding her cat and also had all her stuff stuffed in the house. So we actually thought we had a good deal, but we didn't have a good deal, right? And the cleaning lady was included in the rent, and we paid the cleaning lady from our own pockets. So meaning we are thinking we had a good deal, but that's why I'm sharing this. Be aware of what you're paying, be aware of what the neighbors are paying, and don't think that you have a good price, because a lot of things are commission based here in Costa Rica. So the owner of the house wasn't even the owner of the house. She rented it herself. So be careful that you're not doing illegal things, so people can throw you out, right? Or actually what I've learned is that everyone who's paying rent, and you can show it. So if you do it digital and you make a transfer, you can show that you paid rent. There's a very strong law here in Costa Rica that protects you as rentee. But if you give the rent cash in the hand, you have it's hard to prove that you are paying the rent, so you cannot confirm to those rights. So that's a warning. So please pay attention to that. But what I've learned is that if you know exactly what to pay, and they say, you know what, it's exclusive bills, you have to pay your own bills, and that is X amount. Perhaps they say that's $500 for the bills. You say, okay, you know what, I will pay the bills myself, especially when you're here for a couple of months. But you pay the bills. A month later, you know exactly what you used. The month that you suppose you come the 1st of January, let's suppose, right? If you would pay the bills that day, you don't know what you're using per month. Perhaps you have kids that use the air conditioning all the time. That cranks up the electricity bill, right? But actually, if you would pay the bill, that's, you know, you go to the supermarket. Actually, you can say, this is the ID of the bill, this is the code for the house, and you can actually pay the bill yourself at the supermarket. Do you believe it? Yes, you can also do it online, but you need specific information. You can ask the owner about it. So just, if you want to make a good long-term rental deal, pay your own bills, but don't pay the bill of the previous renter, because perhaps they had 6 kids and used 24/7 the airco, and now you are paying the bills thinking it's you. No. So your bill is always paid at the end of the month, and then you are covering all the expenses that you made, right? The days before, if that makes sense. Anyways, so don't just take it from the owner how much the bills will be. It depends on your use. Now gas is not something that comes from a pipe from the ground like we are used to in the Netherlands, in Europe, and I think in the United States too. Here in the Central Latin America, here in Costa Rica, we have gas tanks. So gas is just about 8,000 colones for a big gas tank, and you get it at a supermarket. So that's not something that, you know, is a lot of expenses, but it's something that you should pay attention to, that you have to get it yourself, or perhaps you have a landlord or someone who's taking care of that, but no one can charge you like a lot of money for it if you're paying including bills, right? So yeah, that's about including and exclusive. And what's also good to know before you rent, do you have hot water? If you have little babies, perhaps you think, you know, I'm going to a warm country anyways, no matter, it's cold water. Well, take this from me, even when it's super hot and you have kids, right, it's really nice to have a warm shower, especially when you're renting long term. And I also think it's a more fair price if you pay in the higher ranges of rent, you can have a beautiful house, but if they don't have sun panels or something, or they haven't fixed the warm water, I think it's a point to bargain in your price if you come in low season. Because I think hot water, it's not really okay. We did for 8 months with cold water, but I've learned that it's not necessarily, and you can actually lower your price when you have just a house with cold water. So that's a point to pay attention to before you decide to take a long-term rental place. What I learned from a friend, and she lived on an island at the Caribbean, she signed a contract for a long-term rent. So this is what you should never do. Pay attention. Don't ever sign a contract for a long-term rental without you have literally visited the place. I know sometimes it's hard because you're not able to just travel up and down to check out the place, but this is really dangerous, and this really happened to her. The house was amazing. It had a pool, it had everything, showed at the pictures, but of course it didn't show the busy highway that was just right behind her house. So it was super, super, super noisy. But she committed herself for a year, so she couldn't leave, right? So, and that is why I recommend you to just short term. So what I would do is to make a lot of connections to the place where you want to live or just stay long term. Just go there, find yourself a secured accommodation for a specific amount of time, and then in that time, if you already know that you want to stay long term, make connections, talk to people, join community groups, ask around, do you have a rental place, and then check all the things that I just shared with you. Do you pay including, exclusive? Is there a lot of noise, for example? You can see it on pictures if they're building a big hotel right next door. It's terrible. It can ruin your life, especially when you travel or live with kids, right? But just also without kids, you want to sleep. How far is it from a road? Roads are very dusty in dry season. Is there melasse on the road, like the sugarcane sticky stuff? Or is it a paved road? Is the house surrounded by other houses? This is also a tip. Check it out before you do long-term rental. And also for short-term rental, can you park your car behind closed walls? There's a lot of accommodation, they don't. And if you have a rental car or your own car, you know, people in every country, people who don't have enough funds, they steal from others. So there are many stories here from cars who were totally stripped because the cars were not able to be parked indoors behind closed walls. So where do you park your car as a tip to just discover what's else. Okay, it is called the rental guarantee. So my landlord or the owner of the house, which was not the owner, she just rented the house herself, she asked me a guarantee for rent, like $1,000, like the same as the rental price. She wanted me to pay it with the first month rent, but I said, you know what, let's do it when I arrive at the spot with a digital transfer from my bank, so I am assured that everything is there, right, before I pay you the rent guarantee. But what happened, I'm so happy I did do it that way, because the roof started to leak like 2 weeks after, and stuff was broken and stuff. So before she could just refuse me to give me that $1,000 back when I would left, I just were one step ahead, and I never paid that $1,000 of rent guarantee in the first place. So I made pictures of everything that was broken because she was in another country. While I came in her house, there were many, it was stuff was broken that the other renters broke. So I showed her pictures, meaning like proof, like this is how we got in your house. This is not what we did, and until everything is fixed, I'm not paying any extra, if you know what I mean. And well, that not really worked out well in the relationship, but we also managed just to find a better house and just move on, thanks to posting in a community group our question, hey, we're looking for a house. And people are also, just think about it from the other way. If you have a house and you want to rent it to people, you want good renters, right? So you want people who don't break your stuff, who are not celebrating parties, etc., and who just respect your house. So people obviously thought that we were the right people, so that's why we found a really nice long-term rental. And then we bought our own property, and that's just history. You can find more videos about it here on the channel, but I'm gonna wrap my video up. What is really, really important for short-term and long-term rental, what season you're renting in. High season is always higher price. You cannot get better prices. So be smart, come in low season for having more choice. And don't sign anything ahead, too long ahead. Just check it out yourself, and be present in community groups, especially for long-term rental. There are awesome houses for rent, to find for rent, from people who you would really like, and they would really like you, and it's a win-win. But you find them through the community groups, okay? And be careful with paying inclusive, exclusive, and that type of stuff. So I hope that my video benefits you. You know, I'm really happy to share everything that I've learned as an expat mom myself. And again, if you wonder how I work and live here in Costa Rica 100% online, without a job, without a brick and mortar business, click the very first link in the description. And of course, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video. And of course, if you think this video helps others, like my video, share my video, tag others. And yeah, I'm happy to see you back in my next video. This is Muriel from the Peninsula de Nicoya, Sunshine Family. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.